Hey, today we're going to talk about the 5 things every beginning songwriter needs to do. And we're going to start right now. So, I mentioned start. Well, the number one thing the beginning songwriter should do, start. When I first started out, my songs weren't so good. They weren't great. They didn't have the right structure. They didn't necessarily tell a story or any of those things. But I still played in a band. The music sounded great. People liked parts of the lyrics, and so people showed up for the gigs. So don't be afraid. Just start writing. Now I say that, and you're thinking, well, I don't know how to write a song, so how do I start? I'm going to make it easy for you. Don't write a song. I know, counterintuitive, right? What you're going to do is, you're going to do some object writing and things like that, and free writing, and then that way, you'll start writing, you start the creative process, and you'll start to find ideas in the things that you've written about. Sit down for 10 minutes every morning and just start writing. Pick an object, so like a thimble or a photo, and just start writing about it. What does it look like? What does it remind you of? You will be amazed what comes out of that kind of exercise. Only write for 10 minutes. You're not going to spend an hour and a half. You're not really actually trying to create something. You're just going to do an object writing lesson. And if you're interested in actually the details around how to do that, check out the link below in the description for the object writing lesson on Song Chops. And then Pat Pattison's book, Writing Without Boundaries, that actually has a detailed description of it as well. And that is in a Best Books for Songwriters video that I'll link to below as well. So one of the things we always talk about on Song Chops is start with something that's true. I'm a big believer in it. Paul Simon actually said it, and he's one of the best songwriters around. Sound of Silence? Come on. Starting with something that's true, a couple of reasons you should do that. Number one, it sounds sincere. It's honest. And songwriting is really about discovering something about yourself or about the environment around you. Starting with something that's true, that actually gets you there faster. And people connect with emotion and honesty in a song. So, having done that as your song idea, you're way ahead. And as a beginning songwriter, if you're trying to think of a story and how everything works and being a great storyteller, it's just overwhelming. So, start with something that's true. You can write it about an emotional event that occurred for you last week. You can talk about what you had for breakfast. The point is, you can write a song about anything, but start with something that's true. The number 3 thing a beginning songwriter should do, find a place that's easy for you to write in, and then consistently write in that space and at the same time, if possible. And why do I say that? I used to have a poetry instructor at the University of Tennessee who always said, give the muse an opportunity to show up. And it kind of sounds silly, and when he said it, I'm pretty sure I laughed and scoffed at it, but it's actually true. When you dedicate a space and you dedicate a specific time of day, day of the week for writing and being creative, you'll be surprised how creativity sort of happens during that time. So, find your space, find a time and a day and a time that you are going to dedicate to it. So for me, I've got a couple of times during the weekend that I try to do it, but the muse knows when to show up. So, do that for yourself, and you don't have to write a song when you're in that time frame, right? Try to dedicate that time to something about songwriting. It could be reading a biography about your favorite songwriter. It could be listening to 5 songs that you love and you're trying to figure out how they work. What kind of structure does the song have? What does the rhyme pattern sound like? All those kinds of things, that all counts. You don't have to write a song every single time. And ultimately, you have to have ideas for songs to spring from. So, even if you spent the first 6 weeks just doing the object writing lesson that I was talking about, you'll be surprised how ready you will be to write a song. Number 4, keep a notebook. You don't want to have to go look around or every time you sit down have to think of something. I keep a key on my notebook so that way I can find everything easily. So if I'm looking for a hook, I sit down and I was like, oh, there was a really good hook that I thought of the other day. I really want to write about that. I go back in my notebook and I look for a star next to something that's highlighted in pink. So I use highlighters, and here, let me show you here's my notebook. Here's my notebook, here's my songwriter notebook. Here's key, right here at the top, boom, boom, boom. And it says right there, lyric, green. So I highlight it in green. If it's a line, it's highlighted in orange. Pink is a hook, and blue is if I just wrote something that might have something and some promise in it later. But keep a notebook. Also, notebooks are great ways for you to remember the emotion that was associated with the thing that you wrote down. So if you write down a hook or a line, make sure you write down underneath that what inspired it. So if you drove past the billboard and you saw some line and you wrote down the line, write down below that you were driving on I-10 and you passed a billboard from this destination to that destination. Because it helps put you back in the moment, and it helps you connect with the emotion that originally connected you to the reason you wrote it down. So anytime you observe something or you write something down and it connects with you, there's something going on. The writing experience is the thing that sort of brings it out and clarifies it. So make sure you write it down and write down what was occurring and got you to write it in the first place. 5th thing all beginning songwriters should do, find your tribe. And when I say that, you can be online or you can be in person, but you will be amazed. I feel so privileged that I have a group of friends and colleagues and peers and individuals who are songwriters, and everybody from professional songwriters to beginners who love songwriting. They're positive about it. They're positive about their own experience with it and mine, and we all encourage one another. And that, you've got to find that to help you get through the times when you're having difficulty writing songs. And you want people that you can bounce ideas off and share ideas with and get feedback from, who you trust and who are trying to help you achieve the same goal they are. None of us needs more people to tell us what we can't do or we're incapable of doing. Nobody needs that, right? Go find those people who can help you achieve the thing that you want to achieve, and that is writing a song. So those are the 5 things that will help you get started with songwriting. Object writing, one of the best things you can do to help yourself get going now. We'll talk on Song Chops more about how to structure songs, how to get started with, your verse and your chorus and those things. But you have to have ideas first. If you like what you've been hearing so far, please hit the subscribe button. All the links to everything I've talked about in the video are actually in the description below, and you can find a lot of these tips, tricks, and tools for beginners, intermediate songwriters, and even advanced songwriters on songchops.com. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. I really do appreciate it.